Hello and welcome to another video with Life After Brady. Today we're going to take a look at the Patriots opt-outs as of about noontime on July 28th. Patriots had a rash of players today opt out due to mostly family reasons for the upcoming 2020 NFL season. Let's take a look at the list. Per Evan Lazar, these are the 5 players as of 8:30 this morning, and then add Patrick to this list. Linebacker Dante Hightower is the most high-profile, former Pro Bowler and All-Pro player. Won a couple of Super Bowl titles with the Patriots, has opted out this season. Marcus Cannon, again, a couple of Super Bowl titles and a starter coming into the year. And then a couple lesser-known guys. Brandon Bolden, special teamer, running back for the team. Danny Vitale was going to compete for the fullback job. And then Najee Turan was a depth offensive lineman who was coming in the Patriots, and then add Patrick Chung, another veteran guy who would have started this year for the Patriots defense. Let's take a look at the reasons why, to the best of our knowledge. I will admit these are guesses, and I will keep in mind that these are all personal decisions by these guys. They decided to not play football this season for their own each individual reasons. To me, first, it's family. They want to make the best decision for their family. That's what they're focusing on, and that obviously should be very respected and is a personal decision. This is not a football decision, though we are a football YouTube channel, so that's how we're going to cover it. But these are all personal decisions. This is not a professional opinion that they're making. Really, this is personal first, and then professional second. So the reasons why: Dante Hightower, the most high profile, he is in his 30s, turned 30 this year. Has a 2-week-old daughter, as he shared on the Double Coverage podcast with the McCourty twins on Sunday, and then his mother does have type 2 diabetes. So wants to stay home, focus on his family. He's not sure how he's going to be able to focus on football when he's got that family stuff going on, and obviously trying to, either socially distance from them or support them. He, thought the right decision was to support them in person and not focus on football this year. I will bring up, a lot of these guys, the trend to me, why you saw these guys do it early. A, they've got Super Bowl titles, and B, they made some money. You haven't seen a lot of young guys that, this is their make or break season. They could be out of the league if they choose not to do this. These are older guys. They've won the ultimate prize. Yes, they have more to play for, but they've been there, done that. I think they can walk away happy if this is the end of their careers. The second reason, and before I get to this why, I do think the Patriots, were more prepared than other teams. They're usually more prepared off the field. You've heard of them being prepared off the field this season. Guys like Matt Slater, Devin McCourty, when they were having all these Zoom meetings and Zoom conversations, sure, they were talking, nickel formations and, pass plays and all that stuff. But I think they're also talking about life. It's been a crazy couple months for everyone with some of the movements throughout the country and then just the pandemic as a whole. So these guys, came prepared, which is why you're seeing these, July 27th and not, August 2nd, August 3rd, or even later as you get, closer to September. So that's why I think you're seeing these opt-outs. These guys have had months and months to think about this. This is not just spur of the moment to me, them deciding that they're not going to play this year. So moving on to Marcus Cannon, kind of the most obvious one that people thought would have happened. He is a former cancer survivor. Obviously, he's more at risk than the normal player in the NFL. 32 years old, 3 Super Bowl titles, $30 million. That's plenty of reasons why you need to focus on your health and your safety over playing this game. Brandon Bolden, also 30 years old, has made over $7 million. Special teamer, he's going to fight for a roster spot. It's important to fight for roster spots, obviously. I'm not saying that's the reason to not do this, but if you need to focus on your family or possibly, put yourself at risk and then get cut, that's a hard decision to grapple with. Danny Vitale, to me, is kind of like that. Wasn't signed to a big deal. You would have thought he would have made the team with James Devlin's retirement, but and he's also younger, 26 years old, different than these other guys that don't have the Super Bowl titles and don't have the big money, but made the right decision for him. I haven't read a lot about why he made that decision. Obviously, it was personal, though. Patrick Chung, to me, the same as Brandon Bolden, Marcus Cannon, and maybe a little more so. He was a possible cut candidate. I believe he restructured his deal this offseason that he wasn't going to get cut, but still, at 32 years old, he's done everything. I think he is a child due during the season. As Gordon Hayward had said a couple of weeks back, when his child is due, I think the September timeframe, he will leave the bubble. And I think Patrick Chung was thinking the same thing of, as I have to support my wife through the end of her pregnancy, and then with the child being born, yeah, that's you want to be focusing on that, not focusing on football. The surprise of the list is the last one, Najee Turan, and to be honest, I don't know much about him. 24 years old, came over from San Francisco 2018, was with the Patriots practice squad, I believe, last year, but not much there. And this is kind of one of the surprising ones. I don't know if this is a health-related one. So the reasons why, let's get to the on the field, kind of where the Patriots can go moving forward. This has kind of evolved as we've gone, and will continue to evolve, obviously, as guys opt out. That changes what the Patriots can do on the field. Start with Dante Hightower. He's the most high-profile guy, and this was a shock. The Patriots have stuck with him when they had Chandler Jones, Jamie Collins, and him to sign, coming up in that 2012, 2013 draft class. They chose to go with Hightower, and then this offseason, yes, he was going to stick around, but they let Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins go, obviously because they knew they could keep him and stay him in the fold. They didn't sign him to something this offseason, but obviously, you could have moved on for something if you wanted to stick with one of those other two guys. But, they stuck with him. So where do they go from here? It's young, unproven linebackers. Van Noy, Collins, and Hightower all played over 60% of the snaps last season. They had to replace all three. They're going to do it with the two young guys. Anthony Jennings and Josh Uche were drafted early on. Jawan Bentley also there. So you'll see them, I would say, step in. The other thing to me is just you're going to see more DBs. The Patriots are going to lean into what they do best. They have a great secondary. You won't see linebackers covering guys this year, is what I would say. And I think you're going to see them more so trying to use them to apply pressure than maybe you were before. You'll still see 5-6 guys in the line of scrimmage probably, but if you can get a DB in there, and Jamal Adams is the one that's coming to mind because he was recently traded. The Patriots obviously do not have a Jamal Adams, but I'd say they're going to try and use more DBs and get pressure with DBs than use some of the young, unproven linebackers. Next up, Marcus Cannon. To me, he's the one that the free agent market really affects. They don't have a proven tackle sitting on the roster ready to go. Kajewski was a 3rd or a 4th round pick about 2 years ago. He's the one that comes to mind for me, but with $24 million in cap space, I could see them signing a guy like Marshall Newhouse or someone like that, proven right tackle to come and play for in front of Cam on that offense. Bolden, special teams guy, that will be replaced with other special teamers. The one to me that jumps out is the red zone carries. Last year, Sony Michel kind of got a couple red zone carries taken from him. They wanted to go with Bolden, and I'd say those are now Michel's carries. A couple questions coming out today of whether he's going to be ready for the season with foot surgery, but I'd say it's good news for Michel. And then Danny Vitale, Jakob Johnson, and Dalton Keene, the two guys. I think it's more Keene, to tell you the truth. From what I've seen, I think Vitale was more of a pass-catching guy than really a rusher. In Green Bay, obviously they were going to use him more in a rush role, but I think Dalton Keene's the one that really will play more in that H-back and catching the ball out of the backfield role. And then Patrick Chung, he was going to have to come compete for a roster spot. I don't think that changes. Just a guy like Kyle Duggar that you thought second-round pick, maybe has a year to grow into the role. He's not going to be thrown right into it. He may not start. Adrian Phillips may start over him as that next safety, but going back to Hightower, I think you're going to be more comfortable using more DBs, which is a guy like Duggar is going to be on the field. And Turan, I don't think he was going to compete for a starting job, maybe a roster spot, but not a starting job. We'll finish up with looking at the cap space by the cap guru, Pat's Cap. I mean, this is the big news, $25 million. It's going to be a fun month for the Patriots fans and media trying to hypothesize what they're going to do with that $25 million. Clowney's been thrown out. I obviously threw out a guy for the tackle position. I'd love to tell you we know what we're going to do, but this to me is the COVID situation of we don't know. I haven't dug into what the latest rules are with the cap this year and next year. I think they're going to try and roll over as much as possible. Is what I think will happen. Though at the same time, this is still a veteran team that, Devin McCourty, Julian Edelman, Cam Newton's 31. This team is here to compete this year. This isn't, we're going to rebuild and, next year bounce back. So that $24 million, yes, it would be handy next year to use, but especially with teams with cap strip situations, I just don't see them. I don't see them going out and spending everything with the situation, but I also don't see Bill not competing. You know, the whole tank for Tua, or excuse me, tank for Trevor Lawrence. It's now 2020. Tank for Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, or the North Dakota guy is a possibility now, but I just don't see it happening. So we will see. Thank you for joining us for another video on the Life After Brady channel, and have a good one.